Hey, what is up, guys? It's Giltspire here, and welcome back to Champions of the Fog. We are here once again with round 2 rescheduled, this time though with Atrocity versus Cookies, and I am joined by Chef, but you wouldn't know that as they don't have their camera turned on.
Well, right now I'm still eating.
Okay, I'll put your profile pic up in the meanwhile.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I know you're still eating. Fair is fair. See, I'm just that type of person. I'm not sure if like my school ingrained it in me or what, but like I can eat my meal in like 3 minutes flat because it's just like, oh yeah, I have like 15 minutes for a lunch, but I have to be in a line for 10 minutes, so it means I need to eat in 5 minutes. So I just like eat my meals wicked quick.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, I'm the same, Mike, kinda. But it's just like, I'm at home. I don't really have that big of a rush. Besides right now, but I just still eat so no matter what when I'm at home.
That's fair. Well, while you are enjoying your food, let me go down what we will be seeing today. We first off and foremost have Cookies killing first on the Thompson house, followed by 2 killings of Atrocity, and last but not least in trial number 4, we'll see Cookies killing once again. Both of these teams have made playoffs, so realistically speaking, this is more or less for bragging rights, but also to potentially determine the seed that they will receive for playoffs, as well as the team that ends up with the best record will end up in the 1st seed, worst record, the 4th seed, the 1st and 4th will face off, and then the 2nd and 3rd will face off respectively. So this can in some way shape what that will look like, though at the end of the day, not exactly much in the regards of high stakes. Overall, though, should be exciting nonetheless, as Cookies is actually currently undefeated as this moment, so we'll see if they can keep that record going into playoffs, where they're going to be going against Monarchy, Atrocity, and Regicide. So should be a good old time, and those playoffs will be going up next Saturday, starting at 12 p.m. CST and ending promptly probably by 8 p.m. CST. So definitely make sure to be here for that and follow if you haven't already. With that being said, I do believe we have all 4 builds pre-logged. Do they look good to go?
They are.
Awesome. I'll let them know and we'll be jumping right on into trial number 1, Anarchy versus Cookies. Should be a good time. If we take a look at the killer tracker real quick while we are loading up here, we can maybe make some predictions.
Actually, 1 second. I'm trying to see something. I think we might have an issue with one of the items.
Ooh, all right. In that case, we'll switch back over to killer, so it gives you a quick moment to check. Want to make sure that the I's have been dotted and the T's have been crossed, so we do not need to do a reset if at all possible. So I know you're eating, Chef, but, as we're sitting here, what's your guess for killer here?
I don't know. Today's been just basically the same, almost the same as, like I said, like in the last game I was talking about how Sample Text brought a nurse, Monarch, they brought a nurse in Thompson House.
Yep.
How do we get here? Brought a spirit and Bubba on the Bubba for OOD. So we could probably see another S tier come out.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense here. Once again, this is the final day of the regular season, so it would make sense that if you have an S tier available to you, that you would use said S tier in this moment. So I would definitely imagine us seeing if either team has a nurse, has a spirit. Unfortunately, the killer tracker is not opening for me, so I cannot confirm one way or another. But still, should be a good old time. And if we do see that, I imagine it's going to be a slugfest. Did I say Anarchy? Did I say Anarchy, Zanity? Could have said I meant Atrocity. If I said Anarchy, that's my mistake. Meant Atrocity.
We're all set.
They have some. They did use a blight. Cookies has used their blight.
So it looks like no blights will be seen today.
Well, they have one blight. They could be playing, and they have their nurse and spirit still.
Okay, so both teams have nurse and spirit, but no blights. So, I mean, it could just be a full-on match of Nurse and Spirits.
No, you misheard me. They all have their S tiers. They
all have their S tiers. Oh, I see. Okay, so it could just be anything. Nurse, Spirit, Blights. It just is going to be a slug match from the sound of things.
Yep. It's straight up this haymaker match.
All right, well, this will definitely be interesting. I mean, if I'm looking at the Thompson house, I'm doubting that we're going to see a Blight here. More likely a Nurse, more likely a Nurse. More likely than not, we'll probably see a double Nurse. So I imagine that's what we'll probably see here on Thompson house. What's your prediction? Or do you think maybe a Spirit instead?
I probably they should just keep the Nurse train going and see how all the other games went through, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that would be probably the best bet for these teams. But so we'll have to wait and see. Thankfully, we won't have to wait long as we are loading up into trial number 1 once again with Cookies playing as Killer first. So we'll see what they decide to do and if they will set the tone as a S tier match with a Nurse or Spirit. Like I said, I'm doubtful that we'll see a Blight.
Yeah. Thomas is killing me. I've known Thomas for a bit. Me and him were on the same team not a long time ago, and he never really played me. Oh, well, all right. So,
methinks that there may have been an issue as the Killer DC'd immediately. Not exactly certain what just happened there. So let's take a look real quick, and maybe from our trusty ref Prelaw, we can get confirmation on what exactly went down.
The map wasn't set.
The map was not set. So in that case, we did update the S1 rules in regards to restarts. So that will be considered a Killer Fault restart, and thus they will not be able to change their build whatsoever. So please do remind them of that fact. But otherwise, we should be good to go.
I don't know what that was about, but it was a map. They never set the map, and that's alright.
Yeah, they must have maybe changed something by accident, because I'm pretty sure they sent a screenshot of the map being changed, but maybe they may have reset it when making some changes here and there. So, mistakes happen, but that's why we have the restart rules now, so Killer will not be able to change their builds in accordance to the S2 rules. Or S1 rules, which got some carried over to S2.
Well, so sometimes we all know there could be 1 or 2 people that would peak the build, so maybe they know what the Killer was running. I didn't even see what the Killer was running, actually. I didn't get a good chance to see.
Yeah, so, I got a quick look. I already know who it is, but I'll keep it a secret from you. You know, I don't think there's going to be any surprises here. We're not going to be seeing a surprise, pig or a surprise, Myers boy, but I think that we'll probably end up seeing those S tiers like we had mentioned prior.
I don't know. They'll play Nurse or they'll play Spirit. Like I said, I don't expect a Blight because that Thompson house is not fun in the middle. For any Blight player.
Yeah, I definitely think that middle area, especially for like Blights, is going to be kind of rough. Even Nurse, I feel like that middle area is kind of rough though, because the corn blindness is real. So it is really hard to track survivors as they're moving about that corn. I really do wish that they just make one slight change to the corn and make it so that no matter what, it's below head height on the survivors. And I know there are some short survivors in the game, but it would just make a lot of sense to me where in a chase, you could still see the survivor's head like poking over the corn as a killer, versus if they crouch down in the corn, it gives them that kind of environmental, ability to hide. I would really love to see that change.
I mean, and also, but some killers, they somewhat have that feature, with the tall, medium, or short, because when you play Hag, you really can't see. You're almost like at the bottom stalk of the corn, and if you're playing someone like Oni or Huntress, you can see a little bit over, but not really, because it's still the tip of the corn is in the way. But I fully understanding, and as we see here, not many people are playing Fang, so it should be somewhat a little bit, height wouldn't really matter as much.
Yeah.
But
yeah, is Fang the shortest survivor out of all of them?
Yeah, Fang is a shorter survivor.
Okay. Yeah, I was pretty sure it was Fang, but I wasn't 100% certain, as I know Nancy is also pretty short, all things considered.
Yeah, Fang is shorter than Nancy, surprisingly.
Fair enough. Well, while we're sitting here, kind of want to talk about some upcoming stuff. Obviously, come the 30th, which is just over 2 weeks away, we are going to be getting the Portrait of a Murder chapter with the artist. You know, there's some stuff to talk about with the Survivor, but honestly, I'm so excited for the new killer. You know, we kind of mentioned, you got my opinion in the previous match about where I believe that the new killer is at as far as tier is concerned. And I said that I believe they, at their highest level of play, are going to be an S tier killer. What are your thoughts overall?
I don't think she could be I don't think she will be a top 3, but she could be an S tier. I feel like she would somewhat take Hag's place by a long shot, but I still find her around Blight, after Blight, then it'll be Blight, Nurse, Artist, and Spirit. I find her way better than Spirit.
So out of curiosity, do you put Blight before Nurse in the tier list, or does it go Nurse Blight?
I put Blight after Nurse.
Okay, you said Blight Nurse. I was like, wait 1 second, hold on, Chef.
Sorry,
We have to have a conversation.
No, we're fine. I had a conversation. Not the first time I made a mistake, but it'll be Nurse, Blight, Artist, and Spirit.
I would agree with that, you know, especially if the Spirit's changes, where she is a lot harder to get down if the survivors are playing smart. I definitely think that Spirit is argued to be either at the bottom of S tier or at the top of A, and I feel like that's a similar place to where the Artist is currently, at least in the PTB. They're either right at the top of A tier or right at the bottom of S along with the Spirit. Arguably, I would say better than the Spirit, just for her sheer lethality and ability to cross-map survivors more or less.
Her ability to basically cross-map it might be better than Huntress can, is incredible. That's
I mean,
I've noticed.
It's a flat point statement that her cross-map is better than Huntress, because you don't need to worry about walls. Huntress has to go, there are trees in the way. Artist like, trees, what are those? And just will cross-map hit you with Swarm, and immediately within the next, 0.7 or 7.5 seconds be able to lay up another crow and potentially get an injure from it.
She's basically her. There's some kill ones that you can just go in with no perks and just base kit. I believe she's just one of those kills you can just almost have a 10 win streak with just base kit. She has good information. She has a good chase power, and she just keep throwing crows at people. Be oppressive, in my opinion. I believe she's S tier, without a doubt.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with you there. It just, from what I've seen, from the anti-loop to the consistent information to the ability to cross-map, and realistically speaking, pressure upwards of 4 survivors. I mean, I had a clip where I downed 3 survivors in under 30 seconds. Realistically speaking, it was 3 survivors in 30 seconds. Actually, sorry, 15 seconds, more or less. Because they went for a hook trade, got hit with a swarm, hit the person on the unhook, set up another dire crow, hit the person off the hook, and then the third one as well who was injured. It was literally just 15 seconds, 3-person down. I was like, what do you do against that?
She has, I don't know. I can't think. What do I have to say? I'm snapping my fingers right now, but I'm just thinking, she almost has a little bit of Bubba in her too. She could put a crow at a hook, and when someone unhooks, you can just launch it at somebody.
Can interject that we are good to go.
Awesome. And in that case, I'll let them know that they're good to go to jump on into trial number 1.
I think there's going to be a Nurse Spirit.
I mean, I think it's a no-brainer at this point. I don't think there's a question in that regard that's going to be a Nurse or Spirit. So, we won't have to wait long. Obviously, the other team probably took note of the endgame screen, given that they could not change builds, so they are very well aware. And thus, I'm not going to, withhold that information. It is indeed a Nurse. I guess, though, you'll have to wait and see the build if you were not paying attention to it in the post-game.
Yeah, I wasn't looking. Well, let's see. I'm calling Nurse Spirit.
I mean, well, I just told you it's a nurse.
Oh, did you? I'm too busy eating food.
The food's too good, Chef. Can't put it down.
I couldn't hear. Okay.
Chef like Bubba over here, just focusing in on that award-winning chili.
Yeah, it's chili dogs.
But that being said, we will be loaded in here in just a moment, and we are good to go. And sure enough, as I mentioned, it is indeed a nurse.
No,
so let us see what she brings to the table here.
Oh my god, I can't believe so she had a blink bug for a second too.
Yeah, she did have that full blink bug, which is pretty frustrating. Any nurse that has ever experienced that knows the frustration of the blink bug. But it has not deterred Thomas here, as they are currently trying to patrol around and do indeed find some scratch marks of a survivor and will get the hit on the lorry. Not bad at all.
As I was pointing out before, so I was on the team with Thomas possibly last year of August, and when I first met him, he was kind of a hag. He was more of a hag player, and he somewhat played nurse from time to time. But seeing him now on PC, a little bit of better frames, a little bit more better, I probably just frames make everything better for DVD wise, and nurse just feels way better. And he's on mouse and keyboard, more flexibility. So I'm excited to see how he plays.
I mean, so far, definitely a very good showing from Nurse. Definitely probably put in some work to learn her, as they have been pretty lethal thus far in regards to these blinks, and looking like to try and get that light burn, which is very cheeky. Unfortunately, it didn't work as well as they hoped, but were able to dodge the hit there.
But deep down, I'll think it was Thomas as that hag. Oh, okay. All right. Oh no, he got to grab on the ace right when the gen's about to be done.
I mean, that was a beautiful play there. Listening in on that gen and realizing that the ace was there and just got a beautiful grab off. And so that is going to be a significant play here for Thomas, as they even fake out the Nancy of that short blink, getting the hit, and now going for the final hit for the down. But looks like they may have lost track, and Nancy going to the corner, and I don't think it matters here, as Thomas will get the down, in fact.
I think she kind of messed up her first blink. I don't know.
I mean, it's definitely possible. It could have been a mess up, but hey, if it works out in her favor, is it really a mistake?
He got the tag in the down, so it was planned. It was planned.
Exactly, but it does appear that they were able to finally get that gen up top, but it does appear that there's an injured survivor here, and for their hubris, they will end up going down. So that is possibly now the fourth hook here for the nurse, with only one gen completed thus far. So a great showing from what I've seen.
A really good show. It was a really good showing right now for Thomas. He has one person upstairs, so he can just camp this hook. If he positions himself a little bit closer to the house, he could probably see somebody go upstairs and go for the save.
Yeah, but it looks like they're just going to be taking their time. Unfortunately, looks like a missed blink there, and they will end up being able to get to the hook before the nurse can get there, but will end up hitting the ace. But looks like I thought for a moment they're going to tunnel out the Nancy, but they're on the ace dead hard, but it just isn't enough. This nurse is relentless in this pressure, and that will be the second hook here for high surveillance.
Yeah, we got to pick up, picking up tap. It took him a while to get up there, but I feel like the only way was to try to get a hook on an ace and do it.
I mean, the grand scheme of things, just the added pressure for them having to go pick up tap was actually pretty huge, because that meant there were 3 survivors off of gens, and on top of which they were able to get the second hook on the ace as well. So I think, honestly, smart plays, and now they're primed to potentially get a survivor out of the game.
You see a totem right, and as we can see that there's a totem or right there at that loop. I'm pretty sure Warriors called it up to our teammates. That's probably ruined. I see more than one totem too.
Yeah, so it's hard to say if it's ruined there, if it's undying, if maybe the nurse is also using a haunted ground, but that there will be a down on the lorry. And now that means there are 2 survivors on Death Hook, though they have gotten the time to do a full reset. So these survivors in a little bit of a better spot, but I imagine any gens that they've been working on prior, probably dead in the water now.
So much pressure on them. I can't go with the pressure she has right now at 4 gens.
I mean, that's 5 hooks in, 2 people on Death Hook, and I think they found the ace. So this here could be the first survivor out on 4 gens, and that would be a huge play, but looks like they end up with the Nancy instead, and looks like catching them in the middle of a sprint burst.
And another down for Nurse on Nancy. And this would be second hook for Nancy, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's second hook for Nancy as well, so that means there are now 3 survivors on Death Hook. I mean, to the best of your ability, you're going to be trying to ensure that the person on Death Hook is not around that nurse, but now it's going to be kind of difficult to make that happen, as unless they are chasing the tap, that's pretty much going to be a potential GG for this survivor team.
That was, but...
You know, just kind of chilling, watching the windows, taking a look around. And looks like Tom's making a smart play. They are opting not to go for tap and end up going for the lorry, who is on Death Hook in comparison. Lorry played it smart, though, going out to the outskirts, but will end up taking a hit.
Nice. Another tag on somewhere. Yeah, you're right. I think this should be just a tunnel out the game. You can't... Like, why would he do it? You have so much pressure on the air. I don't see how many hooks.
I mean, it's 6 hooks at this point in time. 2 hooks on everyone with the exception of the tap. But that there will be a decisive strike, and this here could potentially change the tide in the survivor's favor, as this chase will be extended for at least a moment.
But he forgets the #1 rule, and that's never tunnel the lorry, because they always carry DS.
This is true, but unfortunately for the lorry, DS don't do too much when it comes to a nurse. You get that 5-second stun, but she'll be right on top of you thereafter.
Lorry's dead on hook, and now we're down 3 gens. But that's good, so I'm pretty sure gens are already at 75 or done, and we're down at 2 gens. Great job by the survivors. I'll probably get that shack. Did that shack? I'm pretty sure. Yep.
Yeah, they're gonna check shack now, which makes a lot of sense. Kind of checking out those far away gens to see. But I also want to note something, that these survivors are not taking chances in regards to popping totems. They're opting to forgo ruin and just crank on through it with maybe the fear that whatchamacallit, haunted ground is in play. I also want to point out here, going for the tap. Tap was harassing the nurse with that flashlight, and though they probably could have gotten away and gone for the ace, they opt to go for the tap instead, who was harassing them, and this might be a bit of a ploy from the survivors to try and keep these final 2 alive.
Ooh, tap with the shades, juking nurse at the shack. You hope to see it. And we're going to the meat tree. Meat tree wasting beautiful time by Tap. Great job.
And is holding W for days, but Nurse looking to block this tap out from any meaningful area, and looks like that flashlight is going to be a final moment of defiance before they go up on hook, though we have not seen a deliverance, so I might bet, based on the way the tap is playing, that he might have deliverance in hand.
Wow, you're right. I didn't notice that, actually.
Yeah, either these survivors got unlucky with the first person who got caught out, but either that or the tap's the one with deliverance. So we'll have to wait and see, but either way, it looks like Nurse is on the prowl and will be going for this corner gen to see if the survivor on Death Hook is there.
Oh, they're probably that gen, so they're probably at shack getting that gen done.
I mean, there's 2 corner gens here. These survivors have split the gens pretty well, making it very difficult for this Nurse to get around.
And you're right, they're on the other quarter gen, but Nancy's injured, no!
Yeah, it's probably the worst case scenario here. If Nancy being injured, this does allow them the ability to down her immediately and go for the hook or potential slug. Though once again, another perk that we have not seen this game thus far is a Unbreakable, as we do see that 4th gen popping off, giving this Nurse all the information that she needs to potentially slug out for the 4K.
That could you are correct about that. I have not seen we have not seen an unbreakable yet, and there wasn't a Deli S tap ended up hitting second. So I'm pretty sure Nancy if she had unbreakable, she'll go save tap, and they really need to get a reset.
Yeah, but with roughly a minute already expiring, I do not believe that Nancy has Unbreakable, and looks like this will be the swan song for the survivors, as Ace will drop to the ground, and all that is left is for the nurse to find their final slug for the full 4K.
We got a little up tap by Thomas here. Not yet, that'll be GG.
Now the question is whether or not they're going to be able to find the Nancy before the Nancy might be able to crawl over to Hatch, as Nurse is now going to have to find them. Otherwise, they will end up foregoing these last 4 points. So it looks like Nurse might end up being on the prowl for the Hatch instead, and maybe hoping for an adrenaline play from the Nancy.
Oh boy. In my best, I don't think this Nancy is going to carry it.
You never know, you never know.
I just don't know. I don't think it's gonna be that.
Well, we'll find out in just 1 second, as Nurse will end up breaking a pallet first, you know, as their priorities. And sure enough, the Nancy does have the adrenaline.
Alright, well. These are some kind of yikes doors. I'm just keeping an eye on the jack door.
Yeah, I mean, this was the best case scenario for the Nurse, right? Now she guarantees that the Nancy won't bleed out, and this is a potential additional 4 points, whether or not the Nurse finds her or the EGC gets her instead.
You think she has... I probably somewhat seen all of her first, right? We saw one totem. I'm pretty sure I saw one totem and I saw another totem, but I don't know.
I believe if you count right, we see one at Meat Tree, one in the back corner, one in front of us, and one at Shack. So there is a total of 4 totems, i.e. a haunted ground in play. And even though it was never utilized, it did end up costing these survivors a lot of time on gens, since Ruin was never cleansed. So definitely is going to be something weighing heavily on their minds moving into game number 2. Though, good news is, Season 2, Haunted Ground will be banned.
That'll be a really good game changer for all Ruin players. So it would be Ruin Undying, probably Corrupt, and Power. Just, you know, another generic build in comp that people run.
Indeed. But with that being said, Nurse is going to be checking over here. I think if the Nancy is not on the store, this game is going to be over. But we sure enough hear it. And Nurse will go for it, but the Nancy just barely able to get there. And the Nurse picks her up in the nick of time, resulting in the full 4K. Now that was a close one.
That was way too close. I thought she flipped a little bit to the right. She would have gotten it. And obviously, she'd bring her to Demo's basement. I put her forward there.
Indeed. So that there will be the final hook of the game, and we are looking at 14 points for Atrocity and 46 points for Cookies. Do apologize about not having a scoreboard on this match. Unfortunately, I'm using an old scorecard, so it does not have the scoreboard feature baked in. So you'll have to keep it in mind here. My rest will also try and update you guys as we go.
GG's Cookies, Atrocity round for game 1. Game 2, in my opinion, okay, this happened, let's, you know, bring the game back a little bit, get the game, and let's see what killers Atrocity brings.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting, to say the least. But with that being said, Atrocity will be killing now on the Thompson house. Do you think we're going to see another Nurse?
I don't know. Probably another Spirit. We'll probably see a Bubba. Like Kieran brought it. How did we get here earlier today? But I don't know. They have both of their Spirits available as well.
Yeah, that's true. I think that, honestly, you're probably going to end up seeing another Nurse. I think it's a no-brainer here on the Thompson house, as we did mention earlier. And it looks like it's either going to be High Surveillance or Zypher killing for Atrocity. We'll have to wait and see who is who, but we'll get some information here in just one moment.
Now, what are your opinions on that match? Go. Oh,
I mean, overall, amazing plays by the nurse. I mean, they were on point through and through without a doubt.
I'm so eating my food, sorry.
All good, all good. Also, seeing someone say that the Discord overlay is on. Can you clarify what you mean by that? Are you hearing Discord noises, or just see it in the top left-hand corner?
You can see it in the top left corner.
Okay. I mean, if it's just the three of us, you guys know who we are. We have Chef, myself, and Pre-Law, so that's fine, that's fine. Discord's been on something recently. For some reason, streamer mode's like, oh yes, I'm enabled, but not really. I'm like,
I'm
okay.
here, but I'm not here.
But looks like they are setting up the lobby as we speak, and I think it's going to end up being Zypher coming out first on the Thompson house.
Yeah, my first time I'm going to see Zypher go.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't believe I have seen Zypher kill before, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they bring. But like I said, I think more likely not, Nurse or Spirit. I think it's just a no-brainer, especially as we saw that dominating of a match from the Nurse that last game.
You think they could come back and win this and bring back game 2? I think they can.
I mean, absolutely. At the end of the day, if you kind of look at the situation that was 4 gens done with a 4K, if you can get 4K with 3 gens done, then you're a good spot.
You just got your game. You got the game somewhat tied back up.
Exactly. So I definitely think it is a possibility. And it's going to come down to Atrocity's killer, right?
Yep. They have 2 games to back it up to.
Exactly, but the lobby is set up and ready to go. So when Cookies is available, they are able to join at their leisure. And once we get these builds on in, we'll be jumping right on in for trial number 2.
I wonder what Survivor Day they're going to bring. We already know Jazzy. They are going to be a really good Survivor.
Yeah, Jazzy definitely knows what they're doing. That is for sure.
Well, I'm just not really familiar with Cookie Survivor Team and Atrocity Killers, but on the other side, I know about Atrocity Survivors and Cookie Killers.
Fair enough. Well, we'll have to wait and see who what squad is brought on in for Cookies. But obviously, we already have our guesses for the killer. We're just expecting S tiers, no surprises here. What else are you excited for? Coming out onto the 30th. Obviously, not a lot of big changes outside of the new killer and their powers, though I will say one perk that I'm very excited for is the new Scourge Hook. Not sure you're taking a look at that.
I'll actually help someone make a video about the new map and the new perks.
Ooh.
And they use Agi and the new hook perk, and they got so much value. I think the main building gen that was at the time the highest progress gen popped probably 4 times.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous amount of value. I was kind of looking at it and realizing it could potentially, out of all the perks that I think could be meta changing, I really do believe that Scourge Hook Pain Resonance could end up being that, just for the sheer fact that it's 15% off of a generator for putting someone on a hook. And on smaller maps, I mean, it's pretty much guaranteed for you to get to a Scourge Hook at your leisure. And if you mix that with Pop, I mean, if a survivor jumps back on that gen, just taps it for a second, you're looking at upwards of 40% regression. That's 32 seconds total spent on gens. That is pretty much just annihilated by 2 perks.
That is gone. And recently with, the past few chapters, past 4 chapters, basically, we have Trickster and his Starstruck. You have, Lethal. And you have the new Scourge Hooks. And Deadlock. You think, I feel like the comp scheme is going to change really, it's going to elevate with all these new perks coming in. Especially Hex Pentimento. Let's talk about that.
So Hex Pentimento, I've actually been talking to some other TOs, and we're not entirely certain where we sit as far as Hex Pentimento is concerned, whether or not it'll be banned, especially for leagues like Season 2 of COTF. where we are going to be allowing NOED. So of course survivors are going to be, closing out those totems, cleansing them as quickly as possible to counter if NOED is being used. But if Hex Pentimento is used in its place, for example, I mean, that can be pretty significant at 30% slowdown of healing, 30% slowdown of generator progression, pickup speed, exit gates, and on the 5th totem rekindled, the entity will block all totems whatsoever. So there is a conversation where Hex Pentimento might be banned from play upon its release.
I mean, just, what is it? So a full Hex totem build would be actually kind of dangerous, but I feel that, I don't know how many Hex totems are in the game. I don't know if we can have a look at all, but I'm pretty sure up to like 8 Hex totems are in the game. I'm pretty sure 25% of them will only be used, and Hex Pentimento requires 5. So if you break 2 and the other 2 get rekindled, all you gotta do is find the other 2 and just break them, in my opinion.
I mean, honestly, I think in certain situations where survivors are going to be cleansing, especially in comp, especially where totems are going to be cleansed and not blessed, I think in pubs, Hex Pentimento is not going to see a lot of value because a lot of people are blessing totems, not cleansing totems, so you can never rekindle a totem. Whereas with comp, I think Hex Pentimento is in conversation to be banned because totems are always going to be cleansed when NOED's allowed. So it's definitely going to be an interesting conversation. Also, for those asking, it is a full 15% regression on the most progressed gen, point blank with no cooldown for Scourge Hook Pain Resonance. It is a ridiculous perk when used right, so I'd say it's probably going to be one of the new meta perks on smaller maps like Cold Tower if the desync issue ever gets fixed.
Hopefully that desync issue gets fixed. But also, we also need to remember that it's the PTB, so anything could be changed from here to the 30th.
This is true, and people have asked me, especially around the artists, what do I think would be changed if they end up changing it? And the biggest thing which I said is that changing the artist is like asking how do you nerf the nurse? And it's a very delicate process because if you nerf them too much, you just nerf them into the ground and become flat out unusable. And I think the artist is the same conversation in that regard. I think the only way that they could tweak the nurse, theoretically speaking, the artist, theoretically speaking, is by reducing the time in which Dire Crows can be out before, despawning. So I think that would be the only thing that I can think of.
I feel like a way to do it is she could tone down her movement speed, take away one more crow, keep the same recovery, just take away one crow. And you move her. You make her not nurse slow, but you make her huntress slow.
I think if you do that, you nerf her into the ground. I think at that point, there's no reason to use many other people. I think taking away one crow, I could agree with. I think for the most part, you don't want to be using more than one at a time. At the same time, you don't realize how significant of a nerf that would actually be. As you can actually reset your time on the Dire Crows by using said crows. So I think it's probably better for them to just simply reduce the amount of time that crows can stay out. Reducing their movement speed, honestly, it is of my opinion that 110 killers just should not be in the game. With the exception of movement speed killers with awkward movement speeds or unique movement speeds like Nurse, I just think that 110 shouldn't really be a thing in the game because 9 times out of 10, they just become very, very weak. There are some exceptions like Nurse, like Spirit, but like Huntress even, or Trickster, I hate 110s. They really feel horrible on certain loops where 115s can catch up and at least pressure survivors in 2.5 loops, but 110s can be looped for 3+ times on certain scenarios.
I feel like that for that time, if you know you can get super looped on that area, just basically try to leave the tile and try to catch somebody off guard. That's why that's what, unless you're Spirit. I feel like Spirit is one of the only cures. Her and Hag, I could be wrong, but those are the only two. That could somewhat slow down the chase if they get looped 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I think even Hag, though, I think Hag's fine at 110. Like, there's some unique ones that I'm fine with a 110. Hag is because they're a setup killer. Could I argue for them to be a 115, and I think that would still be fine? Yes. Spirit, though, as she has a mobility speed ability, where she increases her speed to 167 base speed, I think is fine as a 110. Nurse below, the 110 is fine because she can move to 32 meters at a time. And I guess there's an argument to say that the artist would also be fine with their ability to, theoretically cross-map survivors. So there definitely is conversation to be had. At the same time, I would love to see what it would look like for a Huntress or for a Trickster to be a 115 killer. Do I think they'd be more lethal? Absolutely. But I think it'd feel a little bit better at times? Also, yes.
Nah, I want just some range killers to just have that kind of mobility a little bit.
That's fair, that's fair. I guess it kind of does come down to balancing, but I do not think the right way to balance the artist is to decrease her to 110. I think 115 is still a really good point for her. I think they just need to tweak her power a little bit because I don't think it's a bad thing for us to have very good killers. I think that you just need to make it so that they have counterplay, which they have some limited counterplay. It's not as complex as some other counterplays, but there's some to be had. Few and far between, though, for sure.
I mean, one thing, it's like, I would say this is, like I said, Old Spirit. Old Spirit, she can, like, she was, this killer again. And this is like when Nurse, it's a nurse, a really good nurse because it's in the game in almost 3 minutes. But one thing people forget is that they're not unbeatable. You can beat them, but it'll just be super tough. And that's what Artist is at that position. She's a really tough, oppressive killer, but she can still get beat.
Absolutely, but with that being said, we do indeed see another nurse. I mean, it's like we predicted. It is going to be a slug match for sure, or rather a slug out. Maybe a slug match too, we'll have to wait and see here, as Cypher is on the prowl for one of these survivors to find within the first 30 seconds of the match.
Back-to-back nurses, you'll have to see it too. I feel like if we get at least 2 hooks when the crowd's up, you're in a pretty good spot, because that's obviously, that's 2 more hooks you don't have to worry about,
I would definitely agree with you on that thought process. But Nurse just not able to identify any of these survivors thus far. They could very possibly just be hanging out in the corn outside of the Nurse's point of view. And Nurse thinking maybe they saw someone, and sure enough, they did.
Yeah, they did. I saw a crow fly away.
Fair enough. See, I was looking around and did not see that myself, but I know when I'm commentating a little bit more lags in comparison, but beautiful hit there on the Cheryl.
No. Oh no, I messed up point, but I don't think we saw a bounce landing either, so she get us down. Free up on the Cheryl. And we got a first down before the corrupt ends. Good one, Nurse. Good one.
I mean, that's a great spot. I will say a little bit late in comparison to what I believe the initial chase was for Cookies. And Nurse opting to bring the survivor quite far. And I foresee the Shane maybe going for a body block here. And potentially... Nope, never mind. I lied. I was saying maybe they might body block for the unhook, but they opted not to. And, just try to see if they're Moth instead.
Just not against the Nurse. You don't take the hook because she just instantly gets towards you. That just makes it really tough for this Nurse after you get her second plate off. She doesn't want to get burned.
And the light burn is a seldomly seen mechanic on Nurse, but when it works, it does work. Speaking of, though, this Nurse finding the Lori and doing a beautiful job of getting that very quick down. And that will be the second hook of the game. So far, 2 hooks for only 1 generator, so Nurse is definitely feeling pretty strong, I think.
You got to keep that pressure up, like in the first game. It went all right, but we saw 4 gens get done. Maybe we'll see all gens get done. Maybe we'll see this only gen get done. Then she just keeps the pressure up. Right now, I'll just keep on going for Cheryl and Lori, unless I just don't find them.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think one thing that Thomas did really well was ensure that they're always going for people who had previously been hooked. And that might be what we're seeing here as Cheryl is back in chase and immediately back down.
I would just put her I guess someone just put her in. Where I don't know where her gens are. Her gens are just a little bit spread out. I don't know if she has a freaking shack that she could just like cover, because she just needs someone to game at this point.
I mean, right now she's in a very good spot, just given the fact that there are, you know, 3 hooks in, 1 person on death hook, Ruin's still up. Just overall, brilliant plays here by the nurse, and getting onto a really good gen that was very close. Now at a 200% regression speed, and nurse trying to identify where the survivor went and finds the Nia and does get the hit. This will be Nia's first chase of the game. Let's see if the nurse is able to identify where she's going and get a quick down as Nia tried to mind game it, and nurse missing their blink ever so slightly.
I would go back to the hook and see what Cheryl's doing. I would go back to Cheryl.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be what they're doing here, kind of taking a quick peek, and will be going back to the hook as 30 seconds have passed, meaning that there's less than 30 seconds available until this survivor will be killed out of the game. And sure enough, we do see upwards of 1, if not 2 survivors on their way for the unhook.
Her timer stopped.
Yep, if we do take a quick look, it does appear that camaraderie is in play.
Nice.
So good use of camaraderie there, as that will give that survivor an additional 16 seconds to get unhooked.
I'll still go over there. I'll still go over there and camp.
I mean, with that last gen done, I'd say maybe the camp is still worth it. There's another like 10 seconds plus the 16, so you have to wait out that full 26, but looks like they will end up trading with Jazzy instead, which I think is equally okay in this scenario, as they're going to see if Jazzy had DT going into this chase.
Let's see. Balance was active. DT's over.
Unfortunate for them, still were able to get enough distance, and we do see another gen pop off in addition. So Cookies definitely putting up a really good fight here, and I think this nurse is in a weaker position in comparison to what we saw Atrocity in at this point in the game.
And then right here we see Cheryl was out of the game. Unfortunate. It's only the Cheryl to have to go. But right now he's at 3 people, 2 gens, and 4 hooks.
Yeah.
Gotta keep that pressure going.
But no one else at this point in time currently on death hook, so it's definitely going to be an uphill battle for this nurse, but they do end up seeing Jazzy out in the distance, and Jazzy once again trying to go for that light burn on the blink, and surprisingly, they opt to go for Lori instead of Jazzy.
Lori have a nice bind. Lori has a hook on her, so she could easily just down her, but she's going for the slug on Jazzy.
Yeah, it looks like they may have been trying to find Jazzy and get them down, but end up finding the person in the Thompson house instead. I don't know if this is the right play, but they do end up right on top of the Nia, and maybe the thought here is to try and let Ruin do its job.
Messed up. But she has everyone injured too, which is really good. So I find this as a make or break for Nurse at the moment.
Absolutely, but they do get the Nia down, and I imagine that they will end up going for the hook here.
I would go for a full reset with Lori and Jane. Just make sure you don't get that. You just have that snowball pressure that Nurse is so good at applying.
Yeah, they're going to need to heal quick. If I was the nurse, I'd imagine they probably healed closer to Shaq. And sure enough, it looks like they were even healing. Looks like they were on the gen, in fact.
I'll go for Lori. I know you want to try to get the Jane, but I'll just try to put some more hooks in her. We'll try to get her out of the game as fast as you can. You're at 2 gens, keep it slow.
Yeah, I would tend to agree here. Try and get the survivor out, and sure enough, they get a quick down on the Lori, and I imagine that she will be going down into the basement at this point in time.
I don't really know what Lori's plan was. A little bit of just being there, unfortunately. Talking around the corner, making thinking Nurse wouldn't hear her, but she did and got the down.
Yeah, I think the main play there was just to maybe try and corner tech her. Imagine that the nurse was going to predict blink, and the nurse just taking her time, went to the corner, and sure enough, found the Lori crouched there. So overall, great play there by the nurse, and trying to identify where these 2 survivors are, and they do find Jazzy.
They do, and And one thing is, I would try to go still for that blink stuff. But the burner to go for that long, it takes like another two seconds before we went burn Earth, if I remember right.
Yeah, I mean, basically what Jazzy's doing here is just ensuring that she gets that first blink, and if she's not on top of Jazzy, then they're able to just deny them the second confirmation blink. So Jazzy doing a fantastic job of ensuring that they extend this chase, but unfortunately the nurse was able to get the down in the end.
And Jazzy, of course, the question, I don't know, Jazzy wants it all the time. You know, just doing that little quick telling the nurse, I'm not scared. Come on, let's go.
I mean, it was also click. I mean, on honesty, Jazzy's doing a fantastic job of ensuring that the nurse can't blink, as if the nurse was facing them while charging, they end up getting light burn and losing more distance on Jazzy, so fantastic job in that regard. And looks like Jazzy did have a deliverance in their pocket, and will be getting himself off the hook.
I don't know if you noticed either, but I counted 4 totems during the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty indicative of the Ruin and Dine and Haunted Ground combo. Once again, probably why these survivors are not cleansing, and looks like Nurse will go for Jazzy. Unfortunately, Jazzy not able to get the flashlight on the Nurse in time, and now we will get to see whether or not they have a decisive strike, and sure enough.
So, DS out of the game. Some gens are not done. So if we just tunnel right now. Nice down. A little bit of trees in the way, but it didn't stop Nurse. Another hook for Jazzy.
Yep, and so at this point in time, there are now 2 survivors currently on Death Hook. The question then remains whether or not they're able to find the Lori or the Nia next before they complete a gen, but this is potentially going to tie up the match for Atrocity, moving into trial number 3 if they're able to keep up the pace.
But they can keep up the pace. Well, I don't know what everybody else is. There's only 2 gens up. I found 4. Oh, I see the other 4. I see the other 2. One at Shack, one here. And they aren't going to commit to this gen either. We know the cam is gone. The kinship is gone. So you can just 40 cameras if you want. But unfortunately, they're not. And Jazzy gets off the field.
Yeah, I think this was a smart play here, though. They're able to, you know, force survivors off the gens, get the Lori off the gen here, and now they're able to get the Lori down. This will be a second survivor out of the game. So this could be a huge power play for the Nurse here. And we'll have to wait and see if Lori's able to make this chase long enough for these survivors to get another gen at the very least. And I think that'll probably be the last gen that they get.
Oh, he popped the gen. But that's just pretty aggressive. You can go pick up and hook right now.
Yeah, I think at this point the right play is to simply pick up and hook rather than going for the slug play here, but they are greedy and will end up at least getting a hit on the Nia. Let's see if they commit to it as well, and sure enough, they are.
I understand the potential of plugging, but just don't do that. I'll just go and pick up. That gen has basically no progress on it. You can easily get Lori out the game. I don't understand the progress right now. I just feel like you can go for the kill.
Yeah, it looks like they just wanted to try and apply a little bit more pressure, but sure enough, they will get it nonetheless, as they slugged out the Nia and now have down the Lori, and I don't think they're going to be able to get any additional gens. So, though it may have been a questionable play in the moment, I think it ended up being the right play in the long run, though we do see Jazzy getting that 4th gen.
Now you know what Jazzy. Unbreakable. Unbreakable player. Maybe.
It looked like that was a pickup. I think we saw Unbreakable earlier, in fact. So it looks like that was a pickup, but Nia did not last long. And looks like now the Nurse will be on the prowl for Jazzy, as they are the last survivor remaining at this point in time.
Crack Nurse gameplay right now. As I can turn on, this is so into this game. I was super hyped about Cookies versus Atrocity. Just a back and forth slug match.
Yeah, so far they definitely have not disappointed. And also, to put in perspective, right now, both survivor teams from Trial 1, Trial 2 have tied up based on 4 generations completed. It now just comes down to what this last few hooks will end up being, as Cookies got 46 points with their nurse. As of this moment, Atrocity is sitting at 32. If they were to confirm the hook here on Thomas, it would result in 36, but they would then have the possibility of losing the additional 8 points to Jazzy at the hatch.
I would check you guys.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if Cookies is playing smart, they would go for the gens and commit to it, even if they were to theoretically, you know, lose to the nurse in the long run. That 6 additional points could definitely go a long way, but Nurse just not able to find them. And looks like they picked up the Nia over on the side of Thompson House at this point in time.
I don't know what the play would have been there. And I'm pretty sure in their head they're doing the right thing. I don't play nurse, so I just don't know what to do in this high 6 situation. I would have just went for the gen, not even worried about. I would have picked up, looked close to a progressed gen and just made best. She has chases that have not lasted over 80 seconds too, so she could easily get it down.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to say, but these fires have now reset. And now we're primed to, you know, try and get this last generator done again. The best case scenario here for the nurse is to find Jazzy, where they can potentially claim the additional 7-8 points. But unfortunately for them, they found the Nia once again.
Remember, also, they said Jazzy's death hook.
Jazzy's not death hook. Jazzy currently has 1 additional hook on them. This Nia, actually, yeah, no, sorry. Jazzy is death hook. Nia has 1 more hook. Oh, yeah, in that case, I didn't know. Why didn't they hook the Nia? That would make a lot more sense. Now think about it. I thought it was the other way around. So I was like, oh yeah, you know, slugging out the Nia, so it's not an insta-death. That makes sense. But no, yeah, go for the Nia. You get 4 here. If they progress, you get an additional 3. That brings it up to 39 points. Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Tiebreaker between the two. Oh, upstairs has progress. Upstairs has progress.
Yeah, I think the nurse may have noticed that as well, but unfortunately a misfired blink there will hurt them quite significantly, and they do see Jazzy. And this here might just be the last chase of trial number 2.
Yep. That might be a GG well played here for Jazzy. But GG's. That was a good game.
That was a very, very good game. Beautiful plays from the nurse. And I was a little bit concerned for a while there of what was going to happen. But that there will result in the final hook. And we are looking at 14 points for Cookies, 47 points for Atrocity. So 1 additional point for Atrocity's nurse. As we go into trial number 3, we're looking at 61 for Atrocity and 60 for Cookies. It's a 1-point game as of this moment.
I think it's the closest the game has been today too, which is even better.
Oh yeah, 100%, definitely has been the closest that we have seen thus far. But with that being said, we are going to be seeing Atrocity killing once again, and I believe we're going to be bringing in high surveillance for Atrocity here. So we'll find out in just one moment, as I'll be needing an invite, as unfortunately I cannot join their lobby at this point in time. But I do believe that to be the case, that high surveillance will be dropping in as the next killer.
I don't know what killers what Atrocity how they use their nerves. I don't know if they use their bite either. I haven't checked.
Let's see. If we're taking a look at Atrocity as of this moment, the only one that I've actually used in full would be the Shape. So they have access to pretty much everyone, so as long as they don't run another nurse again, I mean, they could use Blight, they could use Spirit, they could use Twins, and a whole lot more.
Yeah. I think they're pretty fine. They could use anybody they want. I would just keep throwing in the S tiers just to secure that win. And like you said before, this is the last game of the one of the last games of the season, so just keep on throwing S tiers.
Yeah, I think that is probably what we're going to see. And still getting confirmation from Atrocity on who is killing next. So we'll have to wait and see. It could be Zypher once again. I don't know if they also play Spirit or Blight or Twins, but I think that it has to be an S tier, right? I don't think there's really any other question to it.
Yeah, they just gotta keep on bringing the S tier. Cookies is like a team that would just get almost 12 staged by you know, a doctor or something. You gotta keep on throwing S tier at them.
I would tend to agree with that. But as we are waiting here, you know, what was your overall thoughts between those two nurse matches? I was a little bit worried for Zypher here in trial number 2 at first, but they really did bring it on back. What were your thoughts overall? You know, very similar results, but definitely a different way of getting there.
Thomas played incredible. I can't get that over. Thomas played very well. He kept them at 4 gens for so long. It was ridiculous. Of course, he got down to 1 gen, but just the amount of pressure he had during that time, it was unbelievable. You sometimes rarely get to see games like that. Maybe we'll get like 2 gens or 1, but he kept them at 4 gens for almost 2 deaths, I'm pretty sure, or a death and almost 1 dead.
Yep.
That was unbelievable. And Zypher, with the pressure he had with 3 people up at 2 gens left, and he brought it back to a 4K. That was great. So I saw like 2 different sides of this is what could have happened if gens got done. This is what happens when gens aren't getting done. You know?
Yeah.
That was just great.
Like I said, 2 very different, very similar results, but very different journeys in getting there. So it was definitely interesting to say the least. But it does look like that we will be having High Surveillance as the killer, and we'll have to wait and see what they end up bringing. But we'll be on Torment Creek for this round. So I think, once again, Spirit makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of core in that main area where you can get a lot of good information. I think Blight, it's a bit too open at times. What other killers would you think of seeing? Maybe Twins? Do you think Twins would be a potential option?
My idea was the Twins, but people nowadays, they do the buddy system with Twins that make it a little bit more difficult to basically spread pressure or get downs. So I don't know. The more you play against a killer, the more you adapt. I would say Twins. I could even say Plague, honestly.
I personally love Plague. I love the new Plague. They're so much fun to play with nowadays. So I would definitely not mind seeing a Plague again. But I don't know. As good as I think they are now, and could be argued to be A tier, I just don't know. I don't know if I would play Plague in this situation where the points are so close.
Yeah, you are right. I just use another S tier if you can. Overconfident. That's a top. Interesting.
Just showing that we're on Torment Creek, so now that I've seen that, we should be good to go. You know, I doubt that Atrocity also wants a, whatchamacallit, a killer fault restart where they have to lock in their build as far as knowing what it is. Well, with that being said, it looks like we're about to get the 4 builds from the survivors here in just a moment, and that will allow us to start on up on trial number 3. If you had to take your bets on who's going to be coming up on top in trial number 3, who do you think, Cookies or Atrocity?
It's so close, I can't even think. Cookies dominated the game 1 and not dominated. Well, they played super well in game 1, and Atrocity played super well in game 2. We could just have a draw to game 4.
Yeah,
we really have a really serious game 4, but this could be one of the first few.
Yeah, I mean, if we see a 2K6 hook, it would result in a draw and pretty much just keep it where it is. So it's definitely not out the possibility, to say the least. We'll have to wait and see, though. It's definitely going to prove to be interesting one way or another.
And keep in mind, too, this could be a preview of a semifinals right here, too.
Yep.
Red Side could get beat by Atrocity, and Monarchy could get beat by Cookies, and we could be looking at our semifinals against whoever to go against Travesty or Fort White's One Locker. And speaking of Fort White and Travesty, what do you think about that game coming up on Sunday?
It's going to be interesting. I still feel like in some ways, Fortnite Locker Survivor Team has a lot to grow still, especially where I did come from them. But it's going to be hard to say. You know, both teams have had some time to practice. Excuse me. From their last set of matches, given that they had a bit of a hiatus. There we go. You know, sneezes only come in twos, never one.
See, the fact that you have played for Fortnite Locker. One thing I have to say is like my team next season that really to show improvement or to grow is Immortal Alliance, and the reason why is, as you know, the new captain of Immortal Alliance is Tekna.
Yep. And
he can't. And for some people who don't know, me and him were on Weekend Loop, a team that I helped basically co-found. And of course, some couldn't play, some were not available. So the team disbanded, and he basically joined Immortal Alliance and became the new captain. And you also don't know Weekend Loop merged with them, so I see a lot of familiar faces.
Yep.
Playing with them. And I also told him, you know, it was fun playing against you when the Immortals went against Sample Text.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I just see them improving more, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, with the amount of time between the end of Season 1 and beginning of Season 2, you know, all of those who will be competing in Season 2 will definitely have plenty of time to, you know, practice and really just refine and hone their skills, as we have a $525 prize pool for Season 2. So, you know, definitely the stakes are a little bit higher, though the prize pool for this season's still not too small either. If I haven't checked in a hot minute, but last time I updated it was $141, and I think with a guarantee to be around $200 at the end. So I'll have to wait and see, you know, what the final is. So still not a bad prize pool for the winning team, as winner will take all with our community-funded prize pool. Next season will be a set prize pool from start to finish.
I'm still like I've never seen Jane in comp, so Jazzy's really opened my eyes about that. Like that's one thing I just can't think about. I rarely see shows in comp too. Actually, that's one thing I also want to talk about. What survivors do you see in comp mostly?
What survivors do we see in comp?
What survivors do you mostly? What survivors do you mostly see played in comp?
I mean, a lot of aces, for obvious reason. Ace with his built-in freaking Iron Will. A lot of aces. I'd say a lot of female survivors as well. You know, Nia, Lori, Jane, and so on. So it's hard to say of what the exact percentage is, but definitely a lot of female survivors, a lot of aces. Don't see a lot of Jeffs. Don't see a lot of Bills. Bills especially, because you can hear that smoker's lung a mile away.
Just all you just hear is coughing from the other side of the street of Haddonfield. But that's why I was just thinking I've never seen James in combo before, but Jazzy's really opening eyes. And I called it.
Yeah, it is once again a Spirit. So we've been 3 for 3, Nurse, Spirit, and I imagine that the game number 4 will also probably be a Spirit. So we'll have to wait and see what the Spirit's able to do. Of course, that the nerf to Spirit was not all too long ago. So we'll have to wait and see if the updated Spirit is going to prove to be enough against this Survivor team.
I thought it would be. Oh, we saw Bert. Oh, I don't think he saw it.
Yep, we did see a crow, and even if they didn't, they do end up finding the Jane nonetheless, and they will end up going and do get the hit.
Nice.
Fantastic hit there, anticipating that Jane was going to go for the pallet stun.
I saw an aura in the back, so that could be Undying as well. Nice.
This time, though, Jazzy playing it smarter, getting it stun on the right side this time, and Spirit is going to continue for this chase, and sure enough, Jazzy will be at the pallet, but will get the down.
I've seen a lot of Spirits do this now. They, you normally see Spirits before Directional came out. They would just swing right to the pallet because you'll never know if they're right on top of you.
Yep.
But with the new Directional hearing, you just go around them they'll think you're unfazed in front of them, but they just unfazed on the side.
Yeah.
So some new spirit players, they have adapted to how some survivors play against them.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense because he really, like you said, can't mind game those pallets anymore. So as you stray for it, it does make sense. And ooh, if I think High Surveillance was paying more attention, they very possibly could have gotten a grab there and not just a hit.
Yeah, I feel like Show would go back to that gen if she can. Would be a drop pallet. Yes, it will. If you notice, no one's breaking totems. Because I saw 3 totems, so I'm pretty sure it's not a no-brainer whether to pick the tiles.
Yeah, so I think once again, as we've seen, the builds have been pretty consistent. Rune Undying, Haunted Ground, and Corrupt. So I think that the Spires are just choosing not to cleanse, which means a bit more of a grindy game, but also very little value from the Spirit's perks outside of Corrupt Intervention.
Really. And you know, it's one thing a gen got done during Corrupt too, which is very impressive.
Yeah, I can never complain with those results, and it does show that the Survivors were doing pretty well to chase in a good zone, allowing the Survivor teammates to work on gens. But Spirit trying to go for the hit, unfortunately not able to make it happen, and Lori doing a bit of teabagging to say that they're the dominant side here.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like her control button, it got a little bit sticky, so she's got to, unstick it, you know?
And I think High Surveillance helping out here with a quick smack to the back. You know, hopefully that does that's helped the Lori's control key.
Control, yeah, I hope the control key is a little bit better now.
Very interesting play there with the Firecracker. Would not expect that to have worked, and it almost did. But High Surveillance able to swing through it nonetheless and able to get the down for the second hook.
I don't think. You know, it's funny. I think her M1 got sticky too. She dropped a Firecracker. You know, I don't know. But another gen pops at main. Somewhat of a freaking ish, if you can see.
Yeah, unfortunately though, for this Spirit right now, not looking great in regards to hooks to gen ratio. Right now, 1 for 1, and actually less than that now with that 3rd gen popping.
Dominant aside from the Survivors, but also I don't think no one went back to that gen in the back in their shack. It was so progressive at time, and another down on Jazzy.
And this is actually a prying down too, as this will allow them to have a Survivor on Death Hook. And with 2 gens remaining, they really do need to get a Survivor out of the game ASAP.
No one went back to that gen, which is like somewhat kind of, annoying. Like I feel like someone would at least camp around there and get that gen done, but no. But we got the Lori's reset back. 3 hooks at the moment. At 2 gens, but I feel like they could pull back. Which is really impressive to how they're just working through Ruin.
Yeah, unfortunately though, Rune will still do some good job, and we do see another chase here on the Lori. Will drop that pallet early, and will make a little bit of distance here as the Spirit does break the pallet, and will now be in chase. But looks like trying to double back, and Spirit not able to fully get an idea where she is, but does get the down after all.
You also seen the reasons of why I said maybe. You also seen the reasons of why I don't think you should play Jane at the comp, because it's moments like this, because Spirit is a killer that is just almost based around sound, you know.
Yeah, that is a big factor, no doubt about that. But with that being said, we are now looking around, trying to identify where these Survivors might be. Spirit, surprisingly enough, not phase walking for distance, but opting to walk in, and does hear that generator working in front of them, and sure enough, Ruin does go off, and scratch marks are abound, and looks like Jazzy will be the one to chase, and this is the best case scenario for the Spirit as of this moment.
Do we see a little bit of Poco? You know, so you're the one to try for it. Which is also reasonable. You don't want to waste no kind of time. I don't think that would help either. Nice.
Good double back there by the Jane, and Spirit just getting a little bit mind gamed here, and Jazzy making a good run here as they do revault once again.
She also caught the fact that she slow vaulted back, and a nice fake by Jazzy. We see a gen pop in the distance. He's trying to get this down. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's looking like maybe the pressure's starting to get to them, as unfortunately they're just not able to get this down, and they need it ASAP in order to potentially at least get a draw. I do not foresee a scorecane coming, but they do eventually get the hit, and now they need to get this down before this last gen is popped, out of the possibility of an adrenaline popping off here in just a few moments.
Yeah. Let's see. Will we be down here? Probably. Yeah, we will. Good game. Good job by the survivors.
Yeah, but looks like High Surveillance is going to slug out instead and try and maybe get a grab off of the door here, but ends up finding the Lori, who is also on death hook. If they're able to get the Lori down and hook, this could be a 2-man. But unfortunately, it looks like it's only going to be a 1K if in an instance they get Jazzy, who is back up with what seems to be an unbreakable play.
I see everybody. Yeah, that was an unbreakable play. Maybe we could try to go for a hatch. Oh no. What?
Unfortunately,
that was questionable right there.
And unfortunately, not what they're looking to have happen. But still, High Surveillance not picking up, but we do see the last 2 survivors leave, so that'll be a 3-man out and a 1K for the Spirit. Not great results, all things considered, so this is definitely going to put Atrocity on their back foot, moving into game number 4.
Jazzy, that was a really good last chase from Jazzy, too. Just two gens popped during the time and got a 3 out.
But with that being said, that there results in 38 points for Cookie's Survivor Team and 20 points for Atrocity Spirit, with a total points of 81 for Atrocity and 98 for Cookies. So it's now a 17-point match. Atrocity that does need to make up, and they'll be on the surviving side this next trial.
No, I think Jazzy is going to kill here. And if they have blights, he needs to pull it out here. He needs to pull out his blight. Just secure this game. Jazzy, you can hear me. Look, he plays a lot of he plays some M1s. He plays nurse, but your blight is needed right now. You need to make or break this game 4, because anything can happen. Just pull out blight, double speed, rune of dying, corrupt haunted, whatever you want. You can pull this game.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see here what Cookies decides to bring on out. If we are looking at the scorecard, seeing what Atrocity needs to just make it a tie, they're going to need to get a 4-man, or all 5 gens at the very least. At that point, in order to secure the win, I think they're going to need at least probably a 4 out, if I'm kind of looking at this correctly, because if in an instance they get just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hooks, let's say, it's going to result in a win. Actually, 5 hooks results in a win for Atrocity by 1 point. If they get 6 hooks, then it is a win for Cookies. So 1 kill, 6 hooks, win for Cookies. A 4-man out before 5 hooks is a win for Atrocity.
Wow. That's
so definitely gonna be a close game, but they need that 4-man out more or less.
Bring a Bubba.
Bring a Bubba?
Yeah, you need to bring a Bubba. Someone that you can just defend the hook. Just don't give them that 4 out.
Yeah, they still, if they even get a kill, they still need 3 additional hooks, and that wasn't accounting for progression, so it's definitely going to be difficult here. I think that you need to bring someone who's just going to be hyper lethal, more or less.
Yeah. You need someone that's good in chase, who can somewhat pressure gens, and just camp a hook. You gotta camp a kill some way.
But with that being said, we are looking at Jazzy playing as killer for Cookies.
Look, Jazzy. Your team could go 10 and I don't know how many games they play, but they could go 9, have a clean season, and go into a playoffs high and mighty. No, you were undefeated in a regular season and could be undefeated in a playoffs. So this is about a streak and bragging rights, saying that you were 9-0 in season 1 of Champions of the Fall.
Yeah, so I mean, it also will secure the #1 seed, so they'll end up going against the 4th seed for playoffs, which I do believe will be Monarchy. So that will also be pretty significant if Cookies can claim the win here.
Yeah, Monarchy, of course, defeating Sample Text, and just a great performance by their nurse and their blight. And now we have this game. We had a little scrim match with how do we get here in Object of Depression, and now we have just basically a main event. Basically, break the streak or just bragging rights for Cookies. That's what I call it.
Yeah, more or less. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. Like I said, it's going to be a tight game one way or another. I mean, like I said, if we kind of break it down, they are going to need to get, let's say, a 3-man out. They need to limit it to 6 hooks. So 3-man out, 6 hooks will result in a win for Cookies. 5 hooks is a 1-point win for Atrocity. If they get a 4-man out, however, Cookies will not be able to win. Even if they were to get 8 hooks, then it would result in a 1-point win for Atrocity. So it is either 4-man out or no 4-man out. They get the 4-man out, they win. If they don't get the 4-man out, they lose. Kind of the long story short here.
Camp the hook.
I don't think camping the hook's the play here. Honestly, I think you just need to pick 2 survivors and pressure them out of the game early. And that there should secure the win. So at the very least, that 2K6 hook would give you the W, but if you end up in a situation to where they get the 4-man out, then it's a big old GG. Because let's say theoretically they camp out the hook and they get a 3-man out. What does that look like? So full camp out, they would need at that point... Actually, so if they full camp it out, if they get 3 additional hooks, then they win by 1 point. So that's what it would look like. If they camp out the first hook, they win, and then get 3 hooks, they win by 1 point.
And only is Atrocity needs a 4 out, right? What does Atrocity need to win?
They need a 4-man out. Long story short. Get the 4-man out or limit Cookies to 5 hooks.
You got to camp the hook. Don't let them get that 4-man out.
Well, like I said, if they get the 3-man out, they just need to limit Cookies to 5 hooks, and then they get the win. But if Cookies gets that 6th hook, then the game's over.
There's so many things you got to worry about.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a rough match one way or another.
They had 3 games to think about this. Wow, Cookies had to go back to back. Like, I don't know. This is a lot of pressure. I mean, you're not as much pressure because they're both already eligible for playoffs, but you gotta break that streak, man.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what comes of it. But that being said, we are getting Survivor builds as we speak. As a reminder, this will be Cookies killing against Atrocity on the Torment Creek. And the points as they stand of this moment are 81 Atrocity, 98 Cookies. If Cookies can get a 1K 6 hook, they claim the victory. However, if Atrocity can get at least a 3-man out before 5 hooks, then they claim the victory, or simply a 4-man out for the W, point blank statement.
Oh, one way to find out. Everybody ready out? I'm ready.
We're just about ready there, Chef. Just about ready. So a little bit more patience, and then we'll be good to go.
Now my question is, what are the maps for the playoffs?
So they have yet to be determined. They will be pulled from the S2 map pool. So I'll pretty much put them into a random number generator and determine the maps. that people we plan on will just be playing on 2 maps from pretty much, yeah, I guess we'll probably just do 2 maps for everyone for the playoffs. So ideally, we'll be playing some pretty balanced maps. Unfortunately, McMillan is currently banned due to desync. Yamaoka currently banned due to desync. So, you know, we have stuff like the Thompson House, Rancid, and a few others to choose from.
We do have our auto havens too. That's one thing.
Yeah, Auto Haven will also be an option, so I'm not sure. I think Gas Heaven's in the conversation. If you want to take a look at what all the maps are, you can go over to the Season 2 rules and as the full map pool.
I'm just ready for Season 2. I'm in the off season, so I'm ready for anything.
Alright, though. With that being said, I believe we have all 4 builds from the survivors and the confirmed build from the killer. Pre-law, are we good to go?
We are.
Awesome. In that case, I'll let them know that we're good to go for trial number 4. And this here, folks, is definitely going to be one to watch, as this is pretty much anyone's game. 4 men out, Atrocity wins. 1K 6 hook, Cookies wins. Best way to look at it. Gets a bit more nuanced if you go for the 1K 5 hook, but still. So, my bet is on Spirit again. I think we're seeing Nurse, Spirit, Spirit. What about you? Do you think Jay's going to be Blight, which they are pretty well known for?
You got to bring the tank Blight. That's what I'm thinking about. But maybe he'll bring a Spirit. I've never seen Jazzy Spirit before, but it'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Jazzy play Spirit either. I think they're most known for Blight. So definitely going to be interesting to say the least. But we'll have to wait and see. My main concern with Blight on this map is that it's a lot of dead zone on kind of the left and the right at times where you don't have a lot to bounce off of. And some of the places where you do are really not great places for Blight to be. So that'd be my main concern in regards to running Blight here.
Yeah. I don't know. Some people can make the impossible the possible. Some can, some I think you can. I can't wait to see.
Well, thankfully enough, you won't have to wait long as we are readied up for trial number 4, Atrocities versus Cookies on Torment Creek. As a reminder, Cookies is killing and currently in the lead with 98 points to Atrocities 81. So it's definitely going to be a close match and will be for sure down to the wire. But we'll have to wait and see what Jazzy has in store, whether it be a Spirit or a Blight.
We'll have to see. Game's all loaded up, and we'll see soon.
Indeed, and sure enough, it is a Blight.
Yeah. Whoa. There's some hurt over there.
So, as we are zooming around here at the start to Jazzy bouncing off that harvester there, trying to identify where these survivors are a little bit early, but not able to see them thus far. Maybe these survivors are going to be waiting out Corruption Invention, given that the Zoomy Boy is on the prowl.
See somebody do the craft. Is this off? You get it too.
Yes, indeed. And that there will be the first chase. So good first hit there by Jazzy, and a little bit of mind game too. And that'll be a quick, like, 45-second down. So that will be the first survivor on the hook, and that is 1 out of 6 hooks that Jazzy needs to claim victory. Good for down. I noticed one thing. That gen's not regressive either. It is not, but I imagine that we'll see a Pop Goes the Weasel, as we see right there. And now the question is if they have any additional gen regression perks or what else they may have brought to the table. But Jazzy trying to identify where the survivor went and does finally see the lorry and will take a stun along with it.
Nice switch by Jazzy.
Yeah, overall, Jazzy doing a fantastic job of applying pressure here, getting some really good flicks on these tiles. And these are the type of tiles that I'm a little bit concerned about with Blight, to be honest with you. And for that exact reason that they're just very difficult to maneuver around. And Jazzy will break this pallet and leave Lori with a whole lot of nothing available to her. And let's see what happens here as Jazzy goes for the bounce. And I don't know if that's messing up or what, but will get the down on the Lori. And we see an eruption in the distance.
I was gonna wait for you to point it out too. I was gonna wait after the chase and just ask you, do you see that little yellow gin right there?
I do indeed. It's either a surveillance or an eruption, and sure enough, we did see that generator get damaged, and Jazzy will be out and about trying to get another pop to the weasel here, but unfortunately, the bounce mechanics will deny him that bounce on the tree.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jazzy. I buttered up the tree before you got in the mouth.
You need to stop buttering up trees, Chef. You know, Blights ain't a fan of that. They're gonna come for you one day.
I can't help it. He's making it a little bit more challenging. You see what he did right there. You saw what he did with that gem. He was waiting for eruption to get all pour down, then pop it, which is very smart.
Yeah, I mean, he went, made sure to, you know, get the most use out of Eruption, which I do love Eruption, and at times it does feel a lot better than Ruin, since it's not something that can be cleansed. But we once again see this Ace here, and this is perfect, as Ace does end up going down.
I don't know if you heard, I heard someone screaming in the back too.
Yep, so Eruption doing its job here, and now Jazzy will find himself with another Pop Goes the Weasel in hand. And that is now 3 hooks out of 6. If Jazzy can simply get a single survivor out, that would be 5 out of 6 and pretty much the game. Looks like Jazzy's gonna wait once again for the Pop and Eruption to come play, and sure enough, there's the Eruption. But I think Nancy might be far gone at this point in time.
That's what they want for Eruption too. I just can't really get behind. It's also just having to wait. I know some people wait for their cooldown to stop.
Yeah, beautiful play there by these survivors. Unfortunately, Jazzy being privy to what they're trying to do, and Lori will end up back down on the ground. And this will be her second hook here, so she is now the prime target for Jazzy to get out of the game. If Lori dies here, that will be a 1k5 hook, meaning that at that point in time, Giltspire cannot allow Jazzy to get a single hook thereafter, as he is already in chase with the Nancy.
So much pressure. So much pressure. Everybody, in all these games, everybody uses Ruin or Dying Hardest. Jazzy said, I don't need that. He has Pop, Eruption, Corrupt, and a 4th person that I have yet to see.
Well, it's already fair knowledge to survivors, so I'll let you guys know what it is. It is Thanatophobia. I do swear that Jazzy swears to Thanatophobia on the Blight, and for good reason, as they are applying a lot of good pressure here. And this here will be the first hook on the Nancy. And this now means that is now 5 hooks. If in the instance they're able to find the Lori, who, mind you, just got healed, I was about to say has not been healed yet, they will end up winning this match.
We'll just have to do our best to hide.
Yeah, she needs to just stay out of the way of the Blight's pathing. If she gets caught out and Jazzy sees her, she is the prime target. But instead, finding high surveillance, where he will get hit, and Jazzy will commit to that chase, though looking around for the Lori all the while.
This is for the street, Jazzy. Remember, we're gonna Oh, and the panic that hard, but he got the car out the way. Oh, he got chased too.
Looks like he's opting to go back to this gen, maybe Erupted, checking if the Lori is over here, but does not appear to be the case, so he'll end up going back to the unhook for the Nancy instead. And doing some cheeky little bounces here, and will not find the survivors, except for the Nancy fast vaulting the window.
Nancy, I have not kept up who's on Duck Hook. I know he has, at the moment, I didn't have 5 hooks. I can't really count right now.
Yep, that is 5 hooks, and another Eruption coming into play. 2 generators are regressed by 8%, and now this means that Tap is also on Death Hook. I mean, this is a great job by the survivors to try and spread hooks as thin as possible to make it so that no one dies. But if Jazzy finds now the Lori or the Tap here, the game is going to be over. But we do see that 3rd gen pop off now. So question is, who was on the gen?
Nancy and Lori.
Yep, there's the Lori, but surprisingly,
He's going for
Jazzy will
Nancy.
opt to go for the Nancy, and this here could be a pivotal mistake, as if they would have committed to the Lori and got her out, that would have been the game. Instead, they'll go for the Nancy, who might have a decisive strike. We'll have to wait and find out.
Let's see. No DS.
No DS, so she will end up on second stage as well. So there is now a number of survivors currently on second stage, where if they get found, the game is over. And we'll have to wait and see as they opt to pop the Jen and just disengage with the Lori.
What is this? What are their plans right now? That's what I'm wondering.
Looks like they're opting to go for the ace instead, from the looks of things. I mean, we are on 7 hooks, so, you know, it's all but one survivor currently on death hook at this point in time, and Eruption will come into play. And we do see the unhook on the Nancy. Looks like they're going to be going back to the hook and seeing if maybe the Lori's over here. And sure enough, I think that is the case.
A nice push by Jazzy there. I think they're going to probably get that.
With some more Eruption value, I think that there will be the game, as Lori is on death hook, and like I said, all they needed was one person out with 6 hooks, and we are now on the 8th with Lori about to die, unless we see maybe a triple man body block, but I just do not think that is about to happen.
And what we calling right there, Joe? Is that what the fat lady thing? Or I don't know.
So there's the game. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no way for Atrocity to come back to it. It just now is more or less a glorified scrim. So we'll see if the Nancy is able to keep up with this Blight, but I feel like Jazzy is going to be playing this LT while smart, and sure enough does get a bit of a mind game here, but not able to make much distance as Nancy has done bamboozled the Blight, moving out to the outskirts, but not resulted in all too much distance.
A little bit of a shake and bake there, but it was getting her down on Nancy. Nancy will be dead.
Yep, so all falling apart for Atrocity here, and looks like Cookies will retain their undefeated streak.
Streak lives on, but Atrocity has nothing to be so bad about. No need to be worried, as they, like I said, they punched their way into playoffs. So they just think about this game as they have, this is their first time playing Cookies. They don't have to worry. They don't. This is your first time playing against them. You know what they're expecting the playoffs now.
Yeah, exactly, especially as all the killers will be reset coming to playoffs, so that will allow these teams to pretty much bring out the S tiers and go on to Slug Fest, where we are probably going to see Blights, Nurses, Spirits through and through. Come Season 2, things will change up a little bit, but Season 1, that's probably what we're going to see from both playoffs and from finals as well.
Whoa, okay. A little bit too fast, Jazzy. Like, I couldn't see him.
Yeah, Too Fast, Too Furious, Blight Drift, right? That's how it works?
Yep. The Blight and Furious, yeah.
The Blight and Furious, yes.
This is a really good game. This is the gameplay I really expected.
I mean, absolutely. Fantastic gameplay from both sides. Whether it be the Nurses, the Spirits, Jazzy's Blight, just overall fantastic plays. But unfortunately, Jazzy just coming up on top as they do see the tap and will go for the chase.
And I'm pretty sure this is the last game of the regular season too, isn't it?
Nope, there is one more. Tomorrow we will have, I believe it is Travesty versus... Let me double check real quick. I believe it's Travesty versus... Oh no, Deadheads versus WO. Deadheads versus WO. Neither of the teams are available for playoffs or eligible for it. So it is more or less just a glorified scrim. But that there will be death to the tap. And last but not least, a death to the ace as well, resulting in 14 points for Atrocity, 2 Cookies 46. Final score, Atrocity 95, Cookies 144. So GG, well played both teams, and congratulations to Cookies for being undefeated in Season 1 of COTF.
That was a beautiful back and forth game, and they just showed why they're undefeated right there with this one game. That back and forth, and this game 4. I'm so glad this game 4 was, we have our meme game 4s, but this one was just down the road, just down the throat,
Absolutely.
I'm happy this happened. I'm very happy that this happened. GG's both sides.
Well, with that being said, though, that there will be the end of today's matches. I hope you all did enjoy, and we'll be back again tomorrow at 10 p.m. CST for Deadheads versus We Overslept. So definitely make sure to be there for that match. Otherwise, we'll see you all next week at Saturday the 20th at 12 p.m. CST for the beginning of playoffs. So hope you guys will be there. But before we go, Chef, if everyone wanted to say hi next time you were live, where would they find you?
Catch me at twitch.tv/ChefDBD.
Awesome. And of course, guys, I'm Mark, aka Giltspire. Not only I'm your commissioner, but I'm also a Dead by Daylight competitive player and educational player too. So make sure to stop on by and say hi. But on that note, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye!